Yeah.
Snoozebro, this is Tommy and me. There's sudden no action, no thrill. We're already done. They said no more jump fights, no more. But here we are, saying no more. Green Super Bowl, what a name. The fireworks, it's all the same. I turn a woman's soul. This car's a joke with feeling low. Another UFC trash car. Promise is broken, it hits us hard. We want excitement, we want the fire, but all we get is just a liar.
What's good, Meat Boys? Appreciate you clicking on this vid. We're Meat Boy MMA. If you're looking for locks and laughs, you came to the right spot. And we'll start by recapping last week, our episode 179 major event. Some good fights from Denver, some not so great. And if you're not interested in the recap, scroll straight to the comments, go straight to breakdowns for UFC Abysmal. But last week, Meat Boy, you went 2-4. Your boy went 5-1. Let's start with the MEATLOCK though. Easy light work cashing for our boy Andre Petrosky. Body bags got us 100. Petro gets us 101. What were your thoughts on the MEATLOCK?
I mean, 100 MEATLOCK, peanut butter Piper. He's always a lock, am I right? And then you have his boy, Petrosky. Once I saw body bags in the corner with him, helping him out with the towel, I was like, it's a wrap. Even though round one, he probably should have won the fight and got the finish, but he didn't get it. But Petrosky was still a lock nonetheless. So team body bag coming through 2 weekends in a row. You gotta love to see it.
Yeah, nice little MEATLOCK streak developing. Both Philly guys helping us out in those. And it was basically just start to finish, right? It seemed like Josh Frem was just overwhelmed by the pressure that Petrosky was bringing. So great work, great stuff from us there. Couple interesting fights. Again, your boy went 5-1. I think my best call was probably Juicy J by sub. So I know Debbie was grateful to see that pick. I thought it would be later in the fight, but it was a YOLO easy light work sub in that round. But what do you think about the C-Rod contest? The elevation played a factor in C-Rod gassing out because he did look good in those first few. But what do you make of the Juicy J versus C-Rod finish?
Yeah, no, honestly, I'm sorry, Deb. I did not mean to doubt your son. He looked really bad until he looked really good. He was getting pieced up nicely. It seemed that elevation, it kind of seemed like it was affecting C-Rod. Took a few big breaths randomly because they were going at it. But then Juice, he's a big guy. I can't believe he makes that weight, to be honest. He looked like a monster compared to C-Rod, but C-Rod was dominating the whole fight up until the last, X amount of seconds, and then he kind of got him. Once it hit the mat, it was over. I was very impressed. That blew my mind on that upset. I thought C-Rod was going to demolish, and there's no way. If you're not getting submitted by Raul Rosa, really getting submitted by Juice, now I want to see Raul Rosa versus Juice because that would be an interesting fight.
That'd actually be a sick fight for sure. And Juicy J, like we said, he's just a very opportunistic submission artist, right? If you leave your neck out for 5 seconds, he's going to capitalize. And it was a pretty quick tap from C-Rod, so clearly uncomfortable, clearly trying to get the heck out of that position. So great win for Juicy J, another submission victory for him. And a couple other fights to recap. Our boy Bonfim absolutely smoked Lusa Tears. I knew that fight was going to be kind of a snooze fest, but one that Ismail Bonfim should dominate. That's what he did. And the one I want to touch on, though, is John Silva versus Drew Dober. What are your thoughts on John Silva? He fought 2 weeks ago. Now he steps in at lightweight. Just slept Drew Dober, or got a TKO, I should say. What were your thoughts on that contest? Is John Silva future champ?
Yeah, no, he's no joke. I couldn't believe on how insanely good he looked versus, Charles Jourdain. Then now he's demolishing Dobsky. Like, that's a big levels test, and he made that look pretty easy. I can't wait to see him back at 145 and see what he can do. He just seems like an absolute killer, to be honest. He's just so well-rounded. He's dominant grappler. He's a dominant striker. He puts pace. His gas tank is phenomenal. I don't know. I'm excited to see where he goes. The dude seems a little off the hinge, a little crazy, but I'm in it. I'm in for this.
Yeah, right. It's fun while it lasts, and if he keeps picking up wins, which literally his whole team is doing. The Fighting Nerds are now 12-0, undefeated in the UFC, and they're literally dominating guys. So it's going to be fun to keep riding the Fighting Nerds hype train for as long as it goes, and when it gets derailed, we'll see what happens. But for now, it's nothing but victories those nerds. And co-meet event, Kung Fu Panda picked up a nice post-majority decision over Ponzinibbio. I know Pons thought he won that fight. Kung Fu Panda, Muslim Salikov, was very stoked, celebrating the fact that Denver is his new place of training, and that's only where he's going to fight from now on. So love to see a guy at 40 years old finding his. But I do want to talk about the main event. It was Rose versus Tracy Cortez. You picked Tracy. I had Rose. I was hopeful she'd be able to get a finish, but it ended up being a pretty dominant, unanimous decision for Rose Namajunas. What were your takeaways from that fight? Was Tracy Cortez a little bit overvalued? Was Rose being slept on because she lost to Manuel Fierro? And what does that mean for Fierro? What are your thoughts about the 125 information that we can glean from last Saturday's match?
Yeah, it's either Fierro is that girl and she's that good and she's significantly better than anyone in the division and she's going to be champ because she made Rose honestly look light work. Or Tracy Cortez is that bad. I really don't know. It does seem to be that Tracy Cortez might be that bad, but I don't know. Maybe Rose has got a second fire in her belly, and she's going for that belt, and she's gonna dominate. I really don't know. It's so hard to tell when it comes to these girls fighting and them switching weight classes. You have Amanda Hebos going up down. Like I don't know how good she actually is anymore. Same with Rose. I gotta imagine that she loses the Cookie Monster, then she loses the Fio, then she beats Amanda Hebos, and then Tracy Cortez. It's either, Manon is that good or Hebos and Cortez are that bad. It'll be very interesting. I think it's actually Manon is that good. We saw her fight Blanchfield, which, if you guys pay attention to the card market, Blanchfield was the #1 most desired card for at least women for that rookie year set. Those cards have crashed about 80-90% because they go, wow, she is not champ material. But everyone was very high on her, saying she's the future champ, up until Manon absolutely demolished that. I was surprised on that one too. But yeah, very crazy fight. Tracy Cortez has a lot to catch up on, and looking back at Tracy Cortez, she's basically fought a bunch of bums up until Rose. So she went from fighting not even a ranked fighter that's actually good to Rose, who's easily a top 5 fighter in any division in the world. So Tracy is got a lot to work with and level up on.
Yeah, there's definitely, as they always say, levels to the game, and Rose exposed him for sure. And you touched on Erin Blanchfield. RIP to all the Blanchfield bag holders, but she's also a woman who lost to Tracy Cortez, right? So it's easy to criticize a lot of Tracy Cortez. Some of them aren't great, but she does have the split decision win over Erin Blanchfield back in Invicta pre-UFC, and then the fight that she had just won before last Saturday was against Jasmine Jasavicius. Jasmine Jasavicius is winning like 5 or 6 fights in a row. She looks like a real contender in this division. So some good wins for Tracy, but a lot of bad wins below that as well. So perhaps a little bit of overvaluing there, but nonetheless, Rose Namajunas, she's only 32, so it seems to me she still has a lot left in the tank. Will she, to your point, ever be able to take out Manuel Fierro? I don't know about that. I don't even take out Grasso. A lot of interesting stuff, I guess, at 120. So you're ready to jump into UFC Abysmal? It's aptly titled UFC Abysmal, so you ready to just sort of trudge through this garbage?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a nice sizzler, a nice Abysmal meatlock, because that's what we're starting off with.
Yeah, I'll start off with an Abysmal sizzler. Mohammed Usman, a.k.a. Snoozebro, is -135, taking on Thomas Peterson, a.k.a. Tommy Peterson, at +114, coming in having lost his UFC debut. Got absolutely smoked by Jamal Pogues, and Jamal Pogues is pretty bad, but Thomas Peterson was the guy that he was the feel-good story from Dana White Contender Series. He was a feel-good story. Beyond that, Meat Boy, I don't know what this dude is offering. Come up against Snoozebro, who, if you remember, Meat Boy, we've been kind of really nailing trajectory so far. We've been all over him in fights that he was supposed to win, and then took a step back in his last contest. We actually meatlocked Mick Parkin, a.k.a. Meat Larkin, and Meat Larkin absolutely smoked Snoozebro. So we've been all over Snoozebro when we thought he was going to win. We've also been all over Snoozebro when he thought he was. In this one, I think it's back to the winning ways for the Meatlock Mo Ooze Snoozebro. Why did you get this one done over Tommy Meat?
Yeah, Snoozebro is just the better complete fighter. I feel like more earned his right in the UFC versus other guys. Kind of got a pity party. He's got a good story, and so they kind of let him in. He didn't seem too impressive. He did lose to, not the best fighter. I don't know. I think Usman's levels above this guy. Usman definitely is not the best heavyweight, but he's for sure better than this guy. Should be easy light work. I think it's gonna go decision, but I wouldn't surprise me if he gets a KO.
Yeah, and we know Snoozebro is a guy that doesn't have a style that's going to wow you. I mean, he did pick up that great finish over Zach Puaga, where he was actually losing that fight and then absolutely slept him with a one-punch hitter quitter. But beyond that, Snoozebro is more of a take you down, smash you, Snorlax style fighter, and we anticipate him being able to do that against Tommy Peterson. It's basically what Jamal Pogues did just a few months ago. If you look at Tapology, one, that Tapology is awfully bullish, just as the Meat Boys are with the Meatlock, but the odds are pretty nice, right? I mean, we're getting Snoozebro around a -135, and although Tapology suggests it's a mauling, we think it's going to be a mauling. What do you make out of the odds, and is it just the Pity Party Peterson feel-good story that are backing Tommy Pete in this one?
It's gotta be, man. I mean, if they saw the fight versus Jamal Pogues, and it's just, I don't know, man. A lot of sus coming my way that he's not the best fighter. He's 29, he's got a lot of room to grow, but Usman is way more established. I mean, he's the motor, for Christ's sakes. He's got an absolute tank in the gas for a big boy. He's going to put on the pace, put the pressure on. He'll do whatever it takes. He'll fight any way it takes to win. If it's grappling or striking, whatever he's stronger in versus this guy's weaknesses, he'll fight him that way, be the smarter fighter, get the job done. Easy Meatlock.
Yeah, great point. He's way more well-rounded, and mentioning Meat Boy, that he trains at Fortis MMA, right? He's absolute killers today, whereas Peterson is the best guy in his gym, trains out of Oakdale, Minnesota at Spartan MMA, and he's essentially the dude in the gym. So we think that Snoozebro just has a more well-rounded tool set and works with better guys. So we'll keep it simple. Again, just like that week again, we're going for our third in a row. 2 straight Philly boys done for us. Snoozebro gets us that third, but we'll be throwing down an easy 135. It'll net 100, get us our 102nd block, third in a row. And I like Snoozebro to position, but I also think there's a pathway to perhaps get a second or third round finish, because Snoozebro is a guy who, he wants to get finishes, right? Like, he goes out there and Snorlaxes guys and is an effective fighter, but you gotta imagine at 35, he's trying to start climbing the rank, no longer be curtain jerker on an Apex card, aptly named UFC Abysmal. In order to get himself out of the position he's currently on the card, he's got to pick up a finish. So there might be some juicy beef for a late Snoozebro finish, but are you taking decision or finish?
I think I gotta go. Oh, man, it's probably my decision, but I think I'm gonna lean on the finish. I think Snoozebro, he's coming off versus McParkins, where he's kind of the GOAT. He is Aspinall's main training partner, so it makes sense. So no shame in that. But I think Snoozebro's going to be hungry. He's going to prove himself. He's going to get that 50K bonus. He's going for a slobber knocker meat bopper.
Slobber knocker meat bopper for sure. Diesel, lost subs. Let us know in the comments. We hope that you're rolling with the Meatlock. Do you think it's by finish, or is it a snooze fest decision? Shout out John Fielding, recent sub. Would love to hear your thoughts. Swap us over to the next one. This one fun is Senior Perfecto Bill Algeo taking on the Korean Superboy Doo-Ho Choi, who very interesting career for Superboy, right? This is a guy who is 3-3-1 in the yet has been in the UFC since 2014. So when we start to do the math, it's like, how the heck does this guy have less than 10 fights in 10 years? You got to remember there was that military service for Doo-Ho Choi, which began in early 2020 and just ended in February. So he was able to return after a year hiatus. When he did, I thought he looked pretty good against Kyle Nelson. Ultimately, he earned a majority draw, then route to win the fight, but got in a point deduction in round 3, which rendered it a draw. But pretty good stuff after such a long layoff for the Superboy against a guy like Kyle Nelson, who is actually sort of peaking right now. So it was good to see Doo-Ho Choi still had something left in the tank, because prior to his mandatory military service, he had lost 3 straight. He had been finished twice, and both of those were fight of the night epic wars against Jeremy Stiffus and then Charles Jourdain. And I wonder if, it took too much soul, essentially, but came with a lot of life to fought a few months ago. He's taking on Bill Algeo, who is 5-4 in the UFC. The odds makers back him as a -1 favorite in one, but he too just got slept, and by who? By Kyle Nelson. So whereas Korean Superboy fought to a draw where he should have won a couple months ago, Kyle Nelson, Bill Algeo got absolutely slept by the home. But he did pick up wins before that against Alex Hernandez, Brown, lost to Andre Fili. I mean, Bill Algeo, he picks up nice wins, but liable to lose at any time too. So I like the matchmaking here. Both guys given a full opportunity. Are you taking Bill Algeo, Senior Perfecto, right the ship and take out the Superboy, or is Doo Ho Choi back?
Oh man, this is such a tough one because yeah, Superboy just he did not get me too excited his last performance, and you know, I'm not really the biggest fan of Bill Algeo, but I don't know. I think I have to take Bill Algeo on this one. You know, Korean Superboy got knocked out by Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain just got demolished by Silva. I don't know. It took a nice hiatus, then a draw with Kyle Nelson, which that's a positive. Kyle Nelson's low-key peaking right now, so it's not a bad. But like Cub, Jeremy Stiffus, Jourdain, I don't know. Either Bill Algeo is absolutely donezo too, because he's got snuffed by Kyle Nelson, or he still has some life left in him. If it's the Bill Algeo, you know, where we saw him fight, T.J. Brown or Herbert Burns, I think that Bill Algeo will absolutely demolish Superboy. But if Superboy comes out new, refreshed, reborn, I could see him beating this older Bill Algeo, not as sharp as Bill that he used to be. I feel like Bill used to be pretty sharp. So I don't know. This is 50-50 in my book. I'm going to go Bill on this one, which is surprising. I usually never pick him, but I don't know. I just don't like what I'm seeing with Superboy.
Yeah, and again, the odds makers back him slightly around -1. Tapology is similar. 71% is rolling with Senior Perfecto, Bill Algeo. Only 29% going with Korean Superboy, and basically beige on both sides. So Tapology thinks this fight likely. Are you at all concerned that Bill Algeo, when we just saw him, got finished for the first time in his UFC career? Because he's always been a guy with the iron crimson chin, right? The dude would sometimes lose, but he's often losing in fight of the night close decisions, like he did against Ricardo Lamas, or he got dominated by Ricardo Ramos, but he never got finished in any of those. Kyle Nelson really kind of put his lights out and really put a lot of damage on Algeo. So are you at all concerned about the Algeo chin that he's going to be arriving with, or are the chin question marks not enough for you to go against him in this one?
Yeah, no, definitely worried about the chin. That's why it's just like it's such a 50-50 fight for me. But I'm going to lean a little more Algeo just because more active, better record. He should be the sharper one, but I don't know. Definitely not confident in this one at all. That chin definitely suspect after you get knocked out like that. So we'll see how it holds in this one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. And one, I'm seeing it the same way as you are, Meatboy. I'm pretty torn on it, about 50-50. But I don't know. Something tells me the Superboy is going to find a way to get this done. He's 33. He's younger. Boy Sting is fighting later on the card tonight for the South Korean fighters. And I'm going to take the homie Doo Ho Choi to win a close, controversial split decision. I think that it's going to look like Algeo maybe won, but something tells me Korean Superboy is going to emerge with a close split decision. So we'll see. I do think this fight goes. I'd be hard pressed to believe that either guy picks finish. Doo Ho Choi is as tough as they come, and Bill Algeo, unless his chin truly has deteriorated that much, I like him to be able to survive a fight against Choi, who isn't necessarily the most powerful puncher in the division. So I'll go Doo Ho Choi, the Korean Superboy, by split decision and a controversial one at that. So any last thoughts on this, Throwdown?
No, would not surprise me if that happens.
Yeah, let us know down low. You taking Senior Perfecto or you rolling with the Superboy? Your boy is Superboy. So swap us through, Meat Boy, because another interesting one, I guess. We got Kurt Hollabaugh, 3-4 in the UFC, a +114 dog, taking on Kaynan Krashus. Although he's 0-1 in the UFC, although he got slept in by Elvis Brenner, he's a guy who does have a lot of hype coming in their series. Enough so to where they're sticking him on the main card of this UFC Abysmal card. But what are your thoughts on this contest? Hollabaugh, we know, is the aging veteran, right? This is a guy who's been there, done that. He made it into the UFC, I guess you can say, again, when Austin Hubbard succumbed to the triangle choke. That was a pretty nice win. Won him the Ultimate Fighter lightweight. although we can question the competitiveness of that, he still ended up with the contract and the trophy. He fought most recently against Trey Ogden. He got smoked start to finish. It looked like Trey Ogden was, it looked like a middleweight in there, a lightweight. It just didn't seem like those guys were the same size, and Kurt Hollabaugh got absolutely smoked. But he's fighting Krzyzewski, who is a guy, in size at least, is a little bit more comparable to him. And Kanan is a guy with a lot of hype, right? Lost his debut. This is a guy who has a win over Adriano Martin pre-UFC, and who did Adriano Martin's absolutely sleep put out cold? Islam Makhachev. So there's a good example of MMA math for you. But in this one, Meat Boy, what do you think? Do you think Hollabaugh, the OG, is going to provide a levels test for Kanan Krzyzewski, and Krzyzewski's just another Dana White Contender Series hype beast that falls off the tracks? Or is he that good, and much like the Fighting Nerds, he's going to make light work of this levels test?
Yeah, this is definitely an interesting one. Hollabaugh, he's an OG. He is a no joke. Definitely levels test, even at his age. Man, it's very, very tough. I wanna pick him, but I just that last performance, and Elvis Brenner is no joke. So there's really no shame in that. I don't know. I think this is a total Bahia. Let's build him back up. Let's give him Hollabaugh. Solid levels test, a little older, not the hardest fight. I think Elvis Brenner was clearly a little too above his pay grade for a UFC debut. He gets Contender Series contract, fights Elvis Brenner. Elvis Brenner's no joke, as we all know. He's an absolute savage. Win, lose, or draw, he's coming forward. So I got to take the youngling, Bahia, 33, solid record. I could totally see him getting the finish. I just worry about Hollabaugh with his age and the amount of damage he's acquired over the years. I mean, this dude he's been hit so many darn times. I don't know. I'd be very surprised if he dominates this guy. I could see it being a close fight, but I gotta lean with the young new gun.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You touched on the Elvis Brenner fight. Elvis Brenner, like you said, is no joke. I mean, the guy who fought our boy Guram Gutataladze, he's the guy who back Oralba, who might be a champ, and the next fight is scheduled against Joel Alvarez. At one point had top 50. Elvis Brenner is no joke, and Kanan Krzyzewski has basically gone through everyone else. He gets finish after finish, and a lot of the time it was a guy against lower competition guys, which is fair to criticize, but he goes in there, he does what he picks up finish after against the hands that have been fed to him. We have seen, I mean, it happened recent. Kurt Hollabaugh used to get finished all the time, right? Shane Burgos absolutely smoked him. Jairone Barcelos absolutely smoked him. So perhaps, like you said, this is a layup opportunity. Get the hype beast Bahia back on track. I'm kind of with you. I think that is happening. I think that the card placement indicates as such. I don't know. The UFC, and I would doubt they're trying to pump Kurt Hollabaugh, and Kanan Krzyzewski is this young, hyped-up prospect at 33. In theory, should be peak right now. If we look at Tapology, Meat Boy, most of the backers are taking Krzyzewski. They think 71% are that he's going to get this one done, but 29% is rolling with. A majority of the Krzyzewski backers think that it is a KO/TKO finish. Do you think that Hollabaugh gets finished in this one?
Yeah, I gotta imagine that that's definitely a possibility. I could totally see it happening, third round maybe, but he's a tough man, so it's probably goes decision, but maybe third round finish.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll be checking out the numbers on both. We'll see what you're getting a better look at, but I do think both of those are in play. Whether it's round 3, maybe round 2 finish for Kanan, or if it's just a close decision where Kurt really tests it, but ultimately is on the short end of the judge's verdict. What happens here? I'm agreeing with you. I got Kanan. I think get this one done. Last thoughts?
No, it's a fun fight.
Yeah, it is what it is. Then swap us over, Meat Boy. Broil us to the next one. This is a fight I'm actually excited about. Steve Garcia, who is 4-2 in the UFC, and a guy who picks up sick wins, right? I mean, performance of the night finish over Chase Hooper, which is a victory that's really aging nicely. He had his lightweight debut about 6 months ago against Milky Costa. He picked up another beautiful finish in that one. Great when Steve Garcia is great. Sometimes, though, you just get a version of Garcia that is. He got slept in 5 seconds by Maheshate, or lost his lightweight debut. Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena, never won another fight in his life. So it's questionable what Steve Garcia you're going to get. Are you going to get the one who finished Chase Hooper or one who lost to Ricky Turcios in Bellator? You just never really know, but he's taking on Sting, who a guy in some you can basically say the same thing about, right? Because at one point we were all over Sung Woo Choi Sting hype train, and then he lost 3 straight, got finished in 2 of them, and only one of the contests was close or competitive. He got absolutely smoked in the others. So it was a fat L streak for Sung Woo Choi, coming off a recent win over Jarno Aarons. A fight that was a little bit closer than it needed to be. I mean, even in that 3rd round, it got kind of sketchy. Jarno had some nice moments, but was a way for Sting to get back in the column. The odds makers, while encouraged that he picked up a victory, aren't bullish enough to take him against Steve Garcia. So what are your thoughts on this one? Which fighter is going to show up? Is it going to be Garcia, or is Sting, like he likes to, wins a lot in a row, he loses a lot in a row? Since he just got that first victory again, is he coming to start another win streak?
Yeah, you know, a fun one is Sting somehow beat Yusuf Zalal and knocked out Julian Erosa, which I would never imagine Sting would be able to beat C-Rod. So if that's not a head scratcher of MMA math, I don't know what is. But Steve Garcia has been looking absolutely phenomenal, while Sung Woo Choi has been looking like he peaked when he knocked out Rosa and has been downhill ever since. I got to take Steve Garcia on this one. I honestly think Steve Garcia is going to make light work, and I think he's going to dominate this whole fight from beginning to end.
Yeah, on paper I agree with you, but I feel like this is a fight for the Mean Machine. Man, I feel like Steve Garcia should get this one done. Tapology, same way, 87% is rolling with the machine, basically all brown. So that's Sung Woo get absolutely slept. And one thing to make note of is that this fight will be at 155, and Sting has usually been one of the bigger 145ers. So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts on the weight jump that Sting is making? Sting's always been a pretty big dude, so is it possible that the weight cut will and 155 will be natural home? I mean, Steve Garcia isn't built like Islam, right? He's like a dude who he makes sense. He looks like a lightweight, right? You could see him walking around 155. So any potential that Sting realizes his potential at 155?
Yeah, no, honestly, I could totally see Sting looking good, looking healthy, looking sharp at 155, but I think Garcia is just peaking right now. Honestly, I think Garcia knocks him out first round. He keeps the ongoing trend of finishes on his record, and I think he's going to get a 4th one right to the list.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm rooting for Mean Machine. I like Steve Garcia. He's cashed as a dog for me. So in this one, as a slight favorite against Sting, I am going to be picking in Meat Boy, but I'm not including Garcia in any part. I can see him coming out here and finding a way done over Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia is one of those fighters where you start to back him heavy as soon as you and think he's going to be done. Most recently, that's when he lays an absolute eggs. I can see Sting forcing him to lay an egg in this, but officially, I'll go Steve Garcia. I'll go by close. And I hope that this fight goes a little bit longer than anticipated, but he comes in here and absolutely then Steve Garcia going to get a ranked opponent next.
Yeah, I think Steve Garcia deserves a ranked opponent next, especially if he dominates Sting. Like, if he knocks him out, easy light work, I think he does deserve that ranked opponent next.
Yeah, I hope so too, because obviously lightweight is stacked, but Garcia, dude, keeps winning. So let's see how far he can take this machine. But I'll go Steve Garcia. I'll go officially by decision. But in a fight that I would tread cautiously, I think Sting has some life. Swap us through, boy. We got 2 to go, plus a bonus breakdown. This one should be interesting, me boy. It's the co-meet event. Brad Tavares is a plus 154 dog, taking on the Iron Turtle, who is a respectable 8-3 in the UFC. The guy only has losses to Fluffy Hernandez, who might be future champ. RoboCop absolutely slept him. And Andre Muniz most recently, when he dropped a very close split decision. A lot of people thought Iron Turtle should have won that contest. And he's taking on Brad Tavares, the basically OG 20-fight UFC veteran. Is 5-5 in his last 10, but he's lost 3 of his last 4. He got finished in 2 of them, and his only recent win in the last 3 years was against Chris Weidman. So what do you make of this co-meet event? is this perhaps the swan song for Brad Tavares and he's getting smoked by the Iron Turtle in this one, or is he coming through and going to smoke the Turtle?
Man, yeah, I don't know. I think Turtle is no joke. I have him very high level, and I think Brad has kind of met his end. I think Brad should go to, BKFC, maybe fight Masvidal. I don't know. Brad is built for that type of environment. I just don't think he's MMA, UFC built anymore. A lot of these people, even though he's only 36, I feel like he's an OG veteran, and he's been getting snuffed a lot lately. Bruno Silva, which is not the best loss, looking back at it. Edmund Shabazian, really not a good loss, looking back at it. Gregory Rodriguez, no shame in that. But Jung Young Park is no joke, and I think Jung is gonna get the KO. Jung, he's only been KO'd in the UFC by Gregory Rodriguez. So he's got a lot more brain power, a lot more room to work with, I think. And he hits hard. So if Brad gets caught, Brad's going night-night. I got to take the Iron Turtle in this one.
Yeah, and the odds makers are pretty bullish on the Turtle, around -185. Tapology is seeing it the same way. 85% is going with the Iron Turtle, Jun Young Park. Only 15% is going with Brad, but basically it's all beige on both sides. And to me that makes sense because Brad Tavares, even though he loses a lot of fights, this is a guy who's very, very difficult to finish. Rarely does he get finished. I mean, I think the only time in the last 10 years or so was when we saw him live get finished by Edmund Shabazi Bum, but besides that, this is a guy who usually makes it the distance. So what do you like about Iron Turtle's game to where you think he'll be able to pick up a finish even against a tough guy like Brad Tavares?
Yeah, I think he will. I think Iron Turtle is no joke, and he's ready for that next level up. He had a really good bout versus Gregory Rodriguez, and Gregory's no joke, so he could definitely compete at those higher levels with those absolute savages. I think Tavares is on his way out, and this could be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I buy that too. I buy all those points. I think Brad Tavares, I think you can say the game has maybe passed him by, which, like you said, is crazy. He's only 36 and he has all this experience, but MMA moves quickly and it seems like he's just sort of falling behind. I don't, however, think he's going to get finished. I don't know. I haven't seen enough brutal finishing power from the Iron Turtle to convince me he's going to be able to put out a guy like Brad Tavares, but I do like him to get a dominant decision in this one. Tapology, again, overwhelmingly in favor of Iron Turtle, but I'm going to say Brad survives, perhaps maybe even wins a round, although that could be a hot take, but nonetheless, Iron Turtle picks up unanimous decision. Brad Tavares, I mean, we're going to talk about Jake Paul here in a second. I think Brad Tavares needs to maybe go fight Uriah Hall or start fighting some NFL guys on a Jake Paul card, because that seems to me like the play for these aging 37, 38, 39-year-old OG UFC fighters, because you can go to BKFC and get absolutely smoked and get a hole punch through your lip, or go fight in a fake fight on a Jake Paul card and maybe make six figures. So I like that for Brad. I like Tavares to get smoked in this one, however. Any last thoughts on the co-main?
No, it's a solid fight. I'm excited for it. Definitely more excited for this fight than the main event of the UFC fight. But yeah, it's an abysmal card. What can I say?
Yeah, swap us through, Meat Boy. It is an interesting meat event, to put it mildly. We got Verna Jindihoba taking on Amanda Lemos, putting the lame in Lemos for this UFC Abysmal meat event. But it's an interesting fight, and one where if one of these women makes a statement performance, perhaps they're able to inject themselves into title fight conversations, because it's a division that features a lot of uncertainty, and this is a pivotal opportunity for both women. But I want to get your thoughts, because Verna Jindihoba, she has an impressive record in the UFC, 8-3 overall with 5 finishes, and she's won 3 straight, all body sessions too, straight unanimous decisions over Lupi Godinez start to finish. Marina Rodriguez got absolutely smoked on the UFC 288 card that we were pretty surprised to see, and then Angela Hill got unanimous as well, and that was probably the closest of the contest, but one that Verna, I thought, did deserve the win. So she's been peaking. She is 36, but she keeps getting better and better and better, and she's taking on Amanda Lemos, who we've seen fight for the title already, right? She's has five round fight experience, and although she lost that opportunity to Zhang Wei Li, she rebounded effectively in her next fight against Mackenzie Dern, and that was one that earned her fight of the night. It was one that really showcased to UFC fans that the story isn't over, because Mackenzie Dern really kind of got smoked in that one, and it was good to see, especially after losing the title opportunity for Amanda. So this is also a woman who also has wins over Angela Hill. She also beat Marina Rodriguez, but did so by finish, whereas Jindy Hoba went the distance. I mean, this is a fun fight, and I don't know if it's meat event worthy, but it's what we're working with on this UFC Abysmal card. So are you taking Amanda Lemos to cash as a slight dog, or is this Verna's time?
Yeah, oh man, it's definitely a hard one. I don't know. I think I gotta go Verna. Verna's been looking really good. I mean, I like the way she's been absolutely ragdolling people. Sure, she did lose to Amanda Hebos. I guess that's not the best loss. Looking back at it, and Mackenzie Dern, she lost to, also not looking the best. Same with Carla Esparza. Uh, she's very solid on the ground game and everything, but actually, I don't know. Honestly, I think I gotta go with Amanda Lemos, first round KO. I mean, she just dominated Mackenzie Dern for 3 rounds straight. Mackenzie Dern is a better / same version of Verna. So what is Verna gonna do different? Nothing. Never mind. Yeah, Lemos, first round KO.
Yeah, I totally fumbled the first oppo. That was my bad on that one. But nonetheless, I like the switch up, Meat Boy. I don't know if I've ever seen you start a breakdown by picking one fighter and then 90 seconds later self-analyze yourself into picking them to then get finished in the first minute. So great stuff there. Nonetheless, we love the honest, real-time take that you always offer nonetheless. But what are your thoughts on this meat event, and how do you think that Lemos ultimately gets this one done? Because this is a fascinating one where Tapology is awfully bullish on Amanda Lemos. 63% is picking her to win over Verna, and it's basically beige on both sides, so they like this fight to go the distance. But what do you make of the odds and the fact that Vegas likes Jindy Hoba, but Lemos is getting all the Tapology support? Is that surprising to you at all?
It is slightly surprising, but also, I don't know, actually, it's really surprising. The fact that Lemos is the dog in this makes zero sense to me. Did anybody watch Lemos versus Dern? That's what I actually wonder. Which, arguably, no one did watch it, so that's why. But I gotta imagine this should be a giant levels test. I think they look at, oh, she's 1-1 in her last 2 fights, while Verna is on a nice 3-fight win streak. She's 3-3, so that's why she's gonna win, and she's a year younger. I'm not too sure, but I think Amanda Lemos is gonna bully her. I think she's gonna bully, beat down some mother with some absolute haymakers and send her to the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, I like where your head's at. Size-wise, they're pretty similar. Jindy Hoba is a little bit shorter, has 1-inch reach disadvantage, but as far as like the striking power, it does seem like Lemos packs a little bit more of a punch than Verna does, but Verna's able to really mix things up well. She's a very effective grappler. She can strike with the best of them for sure. She just doesn't have that same brutal power that Amandina has, but this is a fun one to me. I do think that Lemos has a lot of pathways. I'm a little bit concerned about what Verna looks like in the 4th, in the 5th round if the fight does get that far, because we've seen Lemos, although she lost that opportunity, she went 5 rounds against the king of the division in Weili Zhang, whereas Verna's always a 3-round fighter. So what does this fight look like down the stretch? That's my biggest question mark, but I'm going to roll with Verna. I'm going to take Kara to keep the win streak alive. I think this is the Verna era, and do you think one of these women is about to get a title shot next, or do you really think it depends on what type of performance they have here? I mean, what's up with Tatiana Suarez? Like, what do you make of the state of this 115 division?
Yeah, I really don't know because there's not. I mean, Rose is gone, right? And if I feel like they're really trying to have some new blood fight for the belt. If they have she has a beautiful performance versus Amanda Lemos, she'll get it. But I think Lemos is gonna win, and I think I don't know. I gotta imagine that Tatiana Suarez. I don't know where she's been or what she's up to, but she needs to start getting active and healthy. If that's the case, if it's health issues, I'm not too sure to be honest. But I'm just mind blown that she's not in the mix, and it feels like I already forgot about her up until thinking about it right now. So hopefully Tatiana Suarez gets the next title fight. If not, I guess one of these two. I don't know. This 115 division went from very top hype prospect to one of the lackluster divisions, I would say. It used to be a very, very solid division to watch, and now it's definitely come down. And the 125 has absolutely taken over because a lot of the 115 or top fighters have also gone up. So 125 is very fun right now.
Yeah, very true. And they tried to make Yan Xiaonan. She got the opportunity, fought very well, almost won technically, but she still lost to Weili Zhang. So Zhang just seems to be at that next level, and UFC is just trying to search for someone who can put up an interesting fight against her. I think Tatiana Suarez could be that, but for as long as she's away, I mean, she's 10-0, undefeated, has been dominant, but she never fights. So maybe this is the opportunity. I mean, I know that it's probably a couple fights away, but Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci is coming up. Yasmin Lucindo has been looking very nice. So there's some young blood coming up, but this, to me, is the opportunity for either Lemos or Verna to establish themselves as the next contender. So I'm taking Verna. I say she cuts a nasty promo after smoking Amanda Lemos, and I think she forces a fight with Weili Zhang, and who knows how that one goes down, because this could be the Jandy Hoba era. But any last thoughts on this meat event? I'm officially going to go Verna by decision. You got Lemos by first round finish?
Yeah, Lemos first round finish, light work.
Write it down. Let us know in the comments who you are taking. And before I even ask you how you're going to do this week, Meat Boy, let's do a real quick MMA, or rather Meat Boy boxing throwback. Because if you remember, I mean, years ago, we would always break down Jake Paul fights when he was going up against an MMA fighter. So let's sort of reignite that tradition. Swap us through. It's Jake Paul, the problem child, in a boxing match taking on Mike Perry. And you already know Mike Perry. If you are this far into a Meat Boy MMA video, then you know the legend of Mr. Perry, and a guy who made the switch over to BKFC, and it's essentially been the best decision he's ever made, because he's basically the face of the franchise now. He's 5-0 in the BKFC arena, smokes everyone, including Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez. I mean, this is a guy who really has been getting it done, but it's interesting to note that pre-MMA, pre-UFC, Mike Perry was a professional boxer, and he was 0-1, and it allowed him to make the switch to MMA after just the one contest. So he's trying to pick up his first win, and he's going up against Jake Paul. And a lot of people argue maybe these fights are rigged. Who knows the legitimacy of the contest we're going to watch on Saturday. But to me, on paper, this is the most interesting opponent that Jake Paul has had since that Nate Diaz fight. But if we would have broke that one down, I would have told you I thought Nate might win that fight, and it really wasn't that close. Jake kind of dominated in the unanimous decision, and since then he's picked up two nice first round finishes after first round finish. But he took out Andre August, who's that? Ryan Borland, who's that? So this to me is a much more interesting contest against Mike Perry, who is a guy that can simply brawl and really make things ugly. So love to get your thoughts on this one, Meat Boy. Are you taking the bigger, beefier Jake Paul to pick up a fourth straight win, or is Mike Perry as around a plus 300 dog to minus 450 of Jake Paul coming into Sleep, the problem child?
Yeah, the real main event this weekend has got to be this bout. I mean, Mike Perry, whenever he's fighting, you got to tune in. It's fireworks nonetheless. Honestly, man, this is such a tough one, just because Jake Paul's been looking so good, and Mike Perry's been looking real good at BKFC, so I don't know. I'm pretty torn. But you guys already know who I'm picking. I'm picking the problem child. I have not picked anyone but the problem child since day one. Call me one of the low gangers. Call me one of the Jake Paulers. Not too sure. But I've been getting paid since day one. Mike Perry, the only way I do see him maybe squeaking out a win is if he could somehow bully him, gas him out, get him tired. Because we already know Mike Perry has infinite gas tank, and he is an absolute lunatic. So if he can out lunatic Jake Paul and somehow get a gritty, big heart win, wouldn't surprise me. But I think Jake does have the skill. Boxing is just one of those weird sports. It's not a real fight type of thing that, I don't know, you just can't really go against Jake at this point.
Yeah, good stuff. And you have been a part of the low gang since the beginning, but you have been laughing your way to the bank the entire time, because I know you've been getting paid from some of the homies who love to fade Jake Paul and pick against the kid just because he is Jake Paul. And in this one, I think the size might be big, right? I mean, Mike Perry, he's this more compact little guy. He's 5'10", 71-inch reach, where Jake Paul's around 6'1", 6'2". He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage, and you wonder if all the time spent boxing with big gloves on will be crucial for him against Mike Perry, who has been the last 5 years thrown down without any pads on his hands. So what are your thoughts on this fight being an 8-round contest? It was 10 rounds against Nate Diaz. I wish that this one was 10 as well. Being an 8-round contest, do you see this fight going the distance and Jake Paul picks up another patented decision, or do you see him finishing Mike Perry?
Honestly, yeah, I could definitely see him finishing Mike Perry, but also 8 rounds, I could see a decision too. But what I do like about 8 rounds is that means Mike Perry is going to go off the rails on pressure. He's going to throw it all out there, but I think Jake Paul is just going to dance around him and play the game boxing, not fight a fight, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and yeah, maybe it's a good thing that it's 8 rounds. Maybe that allows Mike Perry to just come out like a true pit bull and try to make it as ugly as possible, maybe try to cut Jake early and create a bloody contest that you know he's well used to and well prefers as the BKFC champ. But nonetheless, this one's interesting. Vegas overwhelmingly is in favor of Jake Paul. It's pretty close on Tapology though. 54% is going with the problem child, 46% going with Mike Perry, and basically all of it is Brown for the KO. I wonder if Perry by decision has a little bit of life. I mean, I just think back to that Ryan Garcia boxing event versus Devin Haney most recently, where Garcia was plus 2,000 to win by decision. It seems as though those backing Perry assume that a finish is the only way he gets it done, but maybe Perry goes out there and simply outboxes the kid and wins a decision. I don't know, Meat Boy. I'm pretty torn. I like the juicy odds of Mike Perry, but for Meat Boy's sake, I'll roll with you. I'll take the problem child to win another decision, but of course I'm going out there hoping Mike Perry can sleep him, because when it comes to who cuts a funnier promo afterwards, Mike Perry sleeping Jake Paul, maybe then calling out his brother Logan Paul. I don't know. I think he could get pretty funny pretty fast. So rooting for Mike Perry, but officially I'm with you. I'll take Jake Paul by decision. Any last thoughts on that one?
No, 100%. If Mike Perry can get it done, he's going to cut one heck of a promo and become a bigger megastar than he already is.
Yeah, it's always fun. You never know. Maybe one of these guys fights Conor McGregor next, because it seemed like we're ever getting him in the UFC. So let's get him a sideshow fight, get him 20 mil, and let him fight Mike Perry or Jake Paul. Seems like that's where we're headed in 2024. Anyways, so nonetheless, Meat Boy, not including the Jake Paul UFC MMA Meat Boy boxing throwback. 6 cards, 6 UFC fights. How do you do over the 6 cards?
This is a tough card, you know. UFC Abysmal, I will be excited if my record does not turn into an Abysmal, but I gotta go with. Oh man, I don't even know. I think I'm going 50-50 this weekend. This is just all toss-ups. I don't even know. There really isn't too many confident picks on my end except for the meatlock. Take that as it is.
Yeah, I buy that. I think when we broke down UFC Trash a couple months ago, that we both went 3-3 or 4-4 or something. It was a 500 split because it was a lot of crapshoot fights that we didn't have the highest confidence surrounding. Always high confidence going in the meatlock, so let's say we at least get the Snoozebro victory over Tommy Pete, but beyond that, who knows? I'm with you. I say I go 3-3 as well. Glad that's over with. We actually have a good UFC card to look forward to next week. UFC Abysmal in the books. Any last thoughts?
No, true Abysmal. Smash me, subscribe, turn the notification on.